This is Steve Renfro, once again with Moss Point Sports Hall of Fame and Oral History Project. Today we have with us again Jerry Alexander, who we've interviewed before, and with Jerry today we have Eugene Mosley, who has a storied career in athletics in Moss Point and beyond. So welcome, guys, and thank y'all for coming today. Look forward to having this conversation. Tick, if you would, why don't you tell us about growing up in Moss Point?
Oh, wow. Growing up in Moss Point, I think it's probably one of the best things that a black kid, and I was a black kid, could have had. We were so close together. I could walk 3 steps almost. I'm saying exaggerating. About at least 50 yards, and I could be in Richard Shields' back door. Another 50 yards, I could be at the Heidelbergs. Another 50 feet or so, I'm at Leonard's. That's how close we were.
So these are white folks.
These white people. Now, I named all white people.
Right.
I named all these white people. And they're people that had businesses and stuff like that were prominent people in the city of Moss Point, that we grew up together, fighting and all this other stuff that was going on in other cities. We didn't have that in Moss Point. I can remember it was on River Road, somebody faked a cross burning. I took a little piece of some plastic or something and poured gas on it and burned it. That was in about early 60s. I said, now this is something that you didn't see. And they found out it was a prank. It was like a prank. Black folk did. But I said, well, okay, I don't have no problem with it. But I've learned to live with people. I didn't see color.
So tell us about how you got introduced to sports.
Oh, wow. Fooling around with Jimmy Shields and Richard Shields and Shields boy, Johnny Grace. We played outlaw football right up the street here in Ralph, but we call him Graff. A lot of people say Grace. It was always Graff, Johnny Graff, Jimmy Graff, Mr. Graff. We played football in their yard every Saturday. It would be a combination of black and white. Mac McKinney's, Duncan May. We grew up together. We had a fight on that football field. Everybody said, all right, time out. Got to one scuffle. We let them fight until somebody get to bed, you just break them up. That's the way we grew up. It wasn't no, I'm gonna go get my gun and shoot you. I'm gonna do this. It was always stellar. And I thank God today for Robert and Eddie Khayat. Where they lived over on Beardsley Street, it kind of junctioned in to Dantzler and the school. But we walked down Dantzler Street and the showers and the dressing room windows faced it Dantzler Street. And we got mooned a couple of times going by here. But we ended up, but if we got into a fight of 2 or 3 of them, we'd be outnumbered. We run right down to the Khayat, jump that fence, and they come up there and they'll stop. They'll call them. Y'all come back here. Y'all want to do something for these guys? Oh, you, come on. He'll let them fight. And when they get to the point where it's just no more fighting in them, he'll break them up. I guess 3 on 3. And that's how he did. We can make it to that fence, get over this yard. It was just like getting in heaven, man, because nobody gonna mess with it. And it was like, it wasn't nothing I guess you can call it, there wasn't no hatred. There wasn't no hatred in Mosley where somebody would come to your house and destroy it. We were teenagers, young kids fighting. And I tell you, my grandmother's name was R. Jane Jackson. You can ask anybody in the Khayat family who that was. And my big sister, other than the other four I had, our other fifth sister, Kathy Khayat Murray. I see her right now. She's gonna come hug little brother and give me a hug right now. I love Kathy with everything in me. She would fix me a cake, a sandwich, and that's how we were. We would go over there on Bishop Street, and from Dancer Street all the way around the curve, down to the river, to Cunningham's house, Dr. Lamey. We raked the leaves over there. We kept the yard clean over there. We want to have a fight. We go out there on football on that a football field on a Sunday afternoon and have an outlaw football game. You could ask Hugh Bardner. Hugh Bardner was in college. They played outlaw football with us at the Danforth Stadium. That's when the field was running east and west. And Robert and Eddie, Robert would go over there and he would practice kicking. And he would kick the ball. When he kicked it, it would go out the stadium over in Mr. Luther Tannehill, Superintendent Tanner. And we go and we recover the ball, bring them back. And that's how I grew up in Mosley, chasing balls for Robert Khayat.
So what about when you first went out for sports at Magnolia? What was that like?
It was like, man, I was always, I don't know whether I was scared to play football or getting hurt or what, but I never had an interest in playing high school football until my senior year. And plus it had some more altercation between me and the coach and stuff like that. But I wasn't interested in football. And I didn't play football at Danforth Stadium. I never played high school football at Danforth Stadium. And I was born and raised here, and I've been on that stadium just about more than anybody around here. I never played an organized high school football game, period. At one time, we were going to play a semi-pro football game over there. When I was playing with the Pass Point Steelers. And that afternoon, it started raining. And after the rain got here, the rain said, no, y'all can't go out there on that field. Y'all tear it up. The game was postponed. The only chance I had to play a game on that field. But I tell you one thing, if I could count the time that I've been on it, can't nobody beat me playing on it. Every Sunday, we'd be on it all day, Saturday and Sunday.
So you went on to play football at Jackson State. So
right.
If you didn't play football at Magnolia, how did you wind up playing football at Jackson State?
Like I said, my senior year, I left Magnolia and went to Carthage. Played high school football my senior year in Carthage, Mississippi. I didn't play at Magnolia, but I graduated from Magnolia. But I played my 6 games of football at Jordan High School in Carthage, Mississippi. That's when the conference found out that we wasn't permanent, what would you call it? We wasn't residents there. We stayed with people, but we were 6 of us. And they made us come back home after we had played 6 football games.
Wow. So when you finished playing at Jackson State, you went on to, you were drafted?
I was drafted in the 14th round by the Vikings, 15th round by the Vikings, 1969. Man, you talking about had a ball. In 1969, I thought I was going to be, it was, in 69, you still had a lot of racial stuff going on. And during that time, you look at the roster and all that stuff in the NFL, it wasn't too many black tight ends. in the league. So when I got drafted by Minnesota, I said, God, so of all the places, Minnesota. Tampa Bay Buccaneers was just coming in the league. I think. That's why I want to go with a new team. So the Vikings drafted me in the 15th round. And I figured that this personal stuff between the coaches at Jackson State and me, that there was something said to the NFL. I was supposed to be at least in the top 5. My roommate, Richard Harvey, he went up, he went early in the round. We had something like 14 guys get drafted the year before at Jackson State, one school. So I ended up playing a couple games in Carlton, and I lucked up and got a scholarship to Jackson State. And I started playing football after that. Then I just been around football all my life. I was coach of the Mobile Generals, a semi-pro football team in Mobile. I played with them a while, coached and played.
So then you came back home to Moss Point after.
Oh wow! Oh, I was doing. I had Pee Wee during that time. I was coaching Pee Wee football. That was in the early 70s.
Where was the Pee Wee football?
Creole Elementary School. The Cougars. You couldn't beat us. But nobody beat us. East Park gave us a good game, but Creole was one of the top schools. I've had a lot of guys that I coached at Creole that went on to the high school and on to college. Chris Osgood was my center in Pee Wee football at 12 years old. And I said, boy, the only reason you center now because you're the only one that could grip the ball with one hand. He could throw it 50 yards at 12 years old. But we didn't have nobody that could really just snap a football. So I made him a center and made his brother the quarterback. Miguel Osgood was the quarterback. Chris was the center. But Chris ended up going to high school playing quarterback, and the rest of it history.
So you were working at the paper mill and
I was working at the paper mill, coaching Pee Wee football, and then I would leave the Pee Wee and go to the high school. A 4-day. But then during that time, I had my first wife. I won't discuss about my personal life, like my wife. My first wife, she was a physical education major. And so all that coaching and stuff I was doing, she was in there right along with me. And so that was one reason why I could do that. Plus, I go to Mobile, I get out of work at 3:30, go practice Pee Wee football. Then I go to Mobile and practice with the Mobile Generals. And some kind of way I got hooked over this guy over here. I don't know his name. No, but him and Billy Wayne Miller. Billy Wayne Miller. Billy Miller. You know, Billy Miller was a guy that you would love to hate, but you just couldn't. He was a guy that used to say, man, I hate the coach, man. Billy, he's doing so much good we need. I got to go along with him. But Coach Miller asked me to come over and help out. I said, sure, I'll come over and help out.
So you were a volunteer coach?
I was a volunteer coach. And I coached volunteers for a while, a long time over there, until this guy right over here, I don't know his name, but he came over. They said, man, you've been doing this. You need to get some type of check. You need to pay something, get your stuff, man. He fixed it where I can get a check. He made it possible.
So Jerry, why don't you talk a little bit about the volunteer coaches and how Tick came to be one of those?
Okay, I met Tick in 1975. My first trip to Moss Point was in 1968. Came home when I was playing football at Delta State. First time I'd ever eaten fresh shrimp, and I've been eating them ever since. 1968, it was the year they turned the field. from east to west and north and south. And I met Tick in 1975. He was coaching Pee Wee football and coming and helping at high school. The two people that I remember early on was Tick Mosley and Willie Chastain. They were great volunteers and also did a great job with Pee Wee football and our young youth. So they trained them well to start with, and then they came up through the system, junior high and high school. And I tell you what, they coached a lot of good athletes. Right. And Tick did a great job. Tick coached the tight ends. Willie Chastain coached the wide receivers, and they used to throw and catch so many passes, or throw passes to our receivers and tight ends. Probably there's no telling how many passes those guys caught. In a game, they rarely ever dropped one. So they did a great job of training our young men, and not only in football, but in life and in character. That was probably as important or more important than what they did on the football field, teaching them to be good, trusting young men and good fathers and good brothers and good sons, and teaching them character and setting the example for those young people to follow, and teaching the 6 pillars of character by example, not necessarily by telling them the 6 pillars of character, by setting the example for them. And they did an outstanding job there. And we had other volunteer coaches. We had Ed Cooper, who worked with our long snappers, and he could get those long snappers snapping. And really, you don't realize how important a long snapper is until you don't have one. And when you don't have one, it shows up very quickly. Yeah. And he did a good job with those. And I'm trying to think of some other volunteers. Dick, you remember some other volunteers that we had?
I think his name is on the tip of my tongue.
Tommy Landrum helped us for a little while, and we've had numerous volunteers over the years.
So what are y'all would just have a conversation about what you remember about your coaching in high school and stories that went along with that?
Oh, it was a lot of stories went on with that, you know. And so when you got what I did for a long time, I worked at the paper mill. I would work at the paper mill. They fixed it where I can work. I was working swing shift, and some of the guys that I knew out there fixed it where I can work from 7 to 3:30, so I can have time to coach. So I would work the paper mill. I get off, and at 4 o'clock, I had my Pee Wee football team out at Creole Elementary School. I coached out there to about 5:30, something to 6. I leave there and go to the stadium by 5. I said, Billy Wayne said over there, we would talk, and he was just something to work with. And when Coach Yelly got to be the head coach, he said, "Man, you spend a lot of time over here." He said, "I'm gonna see about if I can't get you some type of little." I did that volunteer for them. He said, "I'm gonna see if I can't get you some type of little get compensated for what you're doing." So he got it fixed where I can get some money. Oh man, you talk about got dedicated. I'll be the last one to leave that stadium most of the time. And because I guess because I live the closest. But it was like, man, it was like a dream come true. You living, but you love football. You got a chance to coach boys, Pee Wee boys. You got a chance to coach high school boys. And then once you got through with that, you end up going to Mobile, coaching the Mobile Generals semi-pro football team in Mobile, Alabama. Head coach. And it was a natural thing for me to coach. And I give my buddy God the glory and praise for allowing me to keep me in my right mind. That's why I keep me stable in my right mind. This old body, I can put braces on this old body, keep it straight where I can walk. I get a chair and walk with my wheelchair. I mow the whole block on McKinney Avenue down there. I got a lawnmower. I'm going to ride my lawnmower down here. I normally do. But I can't sit down.
So who were some of the players you coached in Pee Wee and at high school that went on to have terrific career?
Chris Osgood, quarterback. Like I said, Chris Osgood. I said, boy, you're a good ball handler. You can handle that ball. So I made a center out of it. They took him and made a quarterback. I said, well, I knew he could handle the ball, so we put him where he can handle the ball all the time. Chris Osgood.
And he played at Ole Miss and Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Keswick joined him. I had Keswick.
Played at Minnesota.
Played at Minnesota.
Coached him in Pee Wee.
Coached him in Pee Wee. And I think about it. All these names will pop up in my head when I get back home. But that's coaching those guys in Pee Wee. Keswick, Chris. Oh wow, it's a bunch of them on the tip of my tongue. But my biggest hurt is when the guys that I coach think about Tremaine. Tremaine was murdered, killed. I don't know if it was murdered or not. Those are the kind of things that put a blow on me. That seems like this somebody cut one of your fingers off. It's part of you dying. That you have given your life to all these kids, and somebody could come and kill them. I expect them to bury me, be at my funeral. I don't want to go to another funeral. I tell my kids and my family, I say, I want y'all at my funeral. I don't want them to know y'all funeral. But the relationship that we had with Coach Alex, they are yours. Coach Miller would, he would put a little coaching in, put tight ends and stuff like that. Coach Alex, wherever they had drawn up, I coached it. And it was like I felt like I was one of those guys that was assigned teacher. I didn't feel like a volunteer. I didn't consider myself. I considered myself a coach at Moss Point High School, and I love the title. I wasn't a volunteer coach. I was a coach at Moss Point High School, and it seems that I did it so long that they decided to give me a salary. I got scared. I've been paid for coaching football. I got paid for coaching football. That's something I did freely. And I got paid for years over that coaching as a volunteer coach turned into a staff member.
Were you there for all the high school championships?
You were.
No. During my tenure in Moss Point, Dick was there for 222 games. Probably before then, the 17 years before then, when I was an assistant coach, he was probably there for about the same number of games. And since when I left, he was there for more games. So Tick and I probably seen at least 500 or more games played with the Moss Point football teams during our time around Moss Point football. And that's a lot of football games.
Yeah, that's a lot of games.
So that's close to 50 years.
Yeah.
Of football.
Yeah.
When you think about you play maybe 10 or 12 games a year. That's a lot of years.
See, we didn't believe in that 10 to 12 games this season. We wanted that 14, 15 games. That means you're in the championship. You know, I got to the point where two things in my life that I value. I bought a bass boat, started bass fishing. I fish and football. Football all week long. Saturday morning, I'm on the river, like bass fishing. And I fish big tournaments. Won a couple big tournaments that were fished right here in Mosley, off the dock. And today, we formed a bass club, Moss Point Bass Club. And it's just been right now, I tell people that right now, my life has been everything I want to be. If I leave here today, don't pity for me. I've had a good time. I had a good time.
Still riding your lawnmower?
I still ride my lawnmower. I ride that lawnmower, give them that lawnmower. I got a BB gun, Daisy. I didn't bring it. I ride down that pier right down through there. Now I'm just like a kid on my lawnmower. They said, man, man, you going crazy, man. Yeah, but I'm going to do it real slow. I ain't going to go fast. I'm just going to do it slow on my lawnmower. You know? But man, I have enjoyed my life. I have no regret. I've come up through civil rights. I came up through racial turbulence. I've seen it. But long as I got my Lord and Savior with me, and I asked him to take care, and I had a friend, mother, grandmother that prayed for this old boy. I'll tell you, I've been a blessed man.
Mr. Mosley, thanks for being here today. And Jerry, thanks for coming back. This will all be on the Moss Point Sports Hall of Fame website. And we're very pleased that you've added your stories to what will be a rich history in total of Moss Point athletics. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you.